Huge day for Alabama. Another huge recruiting class haul, and we're going to go through every single player that Alabama got signed today, and then the 4 guys that Alabama also has committed that won't make their move until February. But a great day for Alabama. Roll Tide, everybody, and let's get this thing going. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. It's time for our Recruiting Day Extravaganza, Signing Day Extravaganza, however you want to say it. Hey, and thanks for being here. Let's get this thing started. What do you say, everybody, with my friend Brett Elmore? I'm Mick Gillispie, and here we go. Talking a little bit of Alabama football and National Signing Day. Dude, I used to take off of work for National Signing Day when Saban took over. I remember the Julio Joneses, the Mark Ingrams, the big days where they're like, hey, we just got this guy or we just got that guy. Another hugely successful day for Alabama. Some surprises as far as guys that signed, that flipped. No one left Alabama. We didn't have any of the bad surprises. We only got the good ones. And Brett, you and I are going to talk about what consensus. I don't know if it's consensus yet because we're not finished the day, but it looks like Alabama's going to have the number 2 recruiting class.
Yeah, and they started the day number 3 in a lot of the rankings, but there was a lot of talk about maybe Bama pushing to number 1, but it looks like you are right. It's probably going to finish behind Georgia at number 2. We did have some folks flip and commit our way, and then we had some folks that we were hoping for that may have pushed us to the top, but they did not flip. They stuck with their original commitment. So still a big day for Alabama. Still second best recruiting class in the country. You got to be happy with Coach Saban and his effort with his coaching staff.
Yeah, it's exciting, guys. By the way, I want to tell you to like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us if you're new. And our show is presented by Pearl River Resort over in Choctaw, Mississippi. And the Timeout Sports Lounge over there where you can bet on Alabama as they play in the college football playoff. They take wagers on the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, all that stuff. So thank you to them for being a part of what we're doing here. All right, let's get it going, Brett. Let's talk about the number 2 class because we got until 4:30 to get all of this in. And I don't want to miss anyone. So let's start right now with the guy who really helped build this class, the consensus 5-star QB out of Carlsbad, California. And I'm talking about none other than Julian Sayin. You're talking about picking Alabama over Georgia and LSU. He's rated as the number 2 signal caller in the 2024 class. That's 24/7 Sports. I think he's number 1 with On 3. And he was the 4th member of this recruiting class. Highly accurate arm and really helped Alabama build.
Yeah, this is a huge get for Coach Saban and the University of Alabama. 6'1", 190-pound quarterback. And, of course, he's already practicing, correct?
Yeah.
He was one of those early guys and saw where Murrow had very high praises to talk about Sayin and about his throwing ability and throwing the tight pass and trying to give him some guidance because as Milrow said, I remember when I was a freshman coming in and how kind of scary it was. And so he's trying to give him some leadership and guidance and Sayin on campus now. And that is one of the top players in the country.
Yeah, it's exciting to have him too. When you talk about these guys and, all the services, which, these services, they do have, they have their own way of doing things, right? But when you got 24/7 on 3 ESPN rivals, all giving this guy 5 stars, there's a reason why. And he put up, tremendous numbers during the season. He doesn't throw interceptions. He's kind of compared to a Bryce Young type of guy with the intelligence and the accuracy and the arm.
Yeah, one of those California kids, we seem to do really well with California quarterbacks. Sand coming in, unanimous 5-star guy. Going to make waves on the team and already making some waves with Milroe, at least in the quarterback room. And then Milroe said yesterday, it's great to have that, another set of eyes, even though this guy's just fresh on campus, just another set of eyes in the quarterback room to talk football with. The guy's already making an impact, even being a few days on campus.
So that was one of the big ones. And there's so many really excellent players in this class, but here's a guy that I'm super excited about, one of the truly best players in the state of Alabama in a stacked year. And, of course, I'm talking about Jalen Mbakwe. And you saw him at Clay Chalkville, lead his team in the state championships. I mean, this guy can do so many different things, and it's just a great get for Alabama.
A great get for Alabama, and I told you I got a chance to call a couple of games that he played in on radio. Mbakwe, the real deal. Watching him in person, a man amongst boys, it seemed like, And I looked over at broadcast partner and I said, I'm glad this guy's committed to Alabama.
Right.
But he's a winner, and he's another one of those guys, Mick, who's going to make a difference. And one of those guys you were talking about, like on 3, 24/7 Sports, ESPN rivals. He's not a unanimous 5-star, but he's like 4.5, basically, if you combine everyone together. I think on 3 has him at 4 stars, as well as rivals. But ESPN and 24/7 Sports have him as a 5-star. Doesn't really matter. Not much of a difference anyway. But 5'11", 170-pound guy. Another guy that's going to make an impact, Mbakwe.
He got the potential to add weight to his frame. Mm-hmm. He's super athletic. He comes in as an athlete. You mentioned it, a 5-star in some publications, picked Alabama over Auburn, Arkansas, and Clemson. And I think that this guy is going to end up being a corner. He's going to be one of the great corners that's played at Alabama. And I think that we could see him on special teams. I think Mbakwe is going to be one of the great players out of this class.
Yeah, I believe you're right. He's a name, of course, we've been watching along with Sand. He's one of those top tier names that, and one of those that you have to keep in the state. We were talking about Sand and how, well we've recruited out on the West Coast, and we talked about this the other day too, Mick. Got to recruit at home. You've got to keep everybody in the state. Mm-hmm. All the big-time players in the state of Alabama need to stay at home. Mbakwe's one, and we'll talk about more that have signed a little bit later on that stayed in state that needed to be here, that were looking elsewhere. But this is a big get for Alabama.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I've said it before. I just feel like to win the Iron Bowl, you got to have the best players in the state, because I think that those guys – they just know it better, like it means more. When Alabama kept losing the Iron Bowl every year to Auburn, which was terrible, when we were on the other end of Fear the Thumb, it was because I felt like Auburn was getting all of the best players in state. That's not the case anymore. That was something that Nick Saban came in and immediately talked about. And so, and he has locked down the borders, even with Auburn here. All you guys hanging out on the message board, Steven, Roll Tide, man, thank you for hanging out here. 6-0, Roll Tide. James, Roll Tide, brother, good to see you. Paul, Roll Tide. Julius, Roll Tide, man. Big day for Alabama. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. This is where you win your championships. You win them on signing day. You got to have you got to have the fuel to ride the car. I mean, these are the guys that have fueled this program, and you can go back and look. The teams that win championships are the teams that are on the top of the recruiting board. And, and that goes, Georgia's won a couple. Clemson was recruiting at that level for a while, and Alabama has consistently stayed there. And this is a really cool class because you're talking about so much talent.
You have to have the stud horses to pull the wagon, and that's what Alabama is getting is the stud horses to pull that wagon. You're absolutely right. This is the first championship you try to win. You try to win this recruiting battle, the recruiting championship, and that's going to lead to championships, and that's what Alabama has done.
All right, next up is Caleb Odom. He is a 4-star in all the publications. You're talking about a big guy, Brett, 6'5", 215. He's considered the number 4 tight end in the class. He picked Alabama over Ole Miss, Miami, Texas A&M, and the Florida Gators. He was basically recruited by a guy. I love this guy's name. I just want you to hear me say it. Robert Gillispie.
Great. This guy's got to be a winner, man. This guy's got to be a winner.
And Joe Cox, and he's just a great athlete, and he's also not only an awesome football player, but he's a great basketball player as well. And LSU is trying to recruit him to do both.
Yeah, and it's hard to do both, but a tremendous athlete, obviously, if he plays multiple sports and a star in multiple sports, but a big tight end. And once again, we're talking about recruiting your home base. Nice to go over to Georgia and snatch one out of there from Kirby, right underneath his nose there in Carrollton, Georgia. Snatched him right up. Snatched him right up. So nice to go over to Carrollton, Georgia, and pick him up and bring him over to Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide, man. So welcome aboard. That's a good one for the Crimson Tide. And I mean, a lot of these guys had the opportunity to get to school early. 11 of them, actually were there before they even signed their letters, which is pretty funny how you can do that now. But these are players where Alabama has just gone out and they keep getting the blue chippers, and Nick Saban's been just crazy good at doing that. And talking about crazy good, how about Brown here? Zabien Brown, Matter Day. I don't know how Alabama does it, but they own Santa Ana, California, because these guys keep coming to Tuscaloosa and they're impact players. And here's another one in Brown, the cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, I said it earlier when we were talking about saying, I don't know what it is. And like you just said, what is it about Alabama and the state of California? We recruit the state of California so well. And bringing him over from Matter Day out of Santa Ana, another big-time player, unanimous 4-star, big body, wide reach, big frame, cornerback, and good to have him on campus.
Yeah, Bryce Young went there.
Yeah.
Lance Ricks went there. Tommy Brown went there. Great cornerback. He picked Alabama over some big programs too, Ohio State and Southern Cal. And I got to tell you, when Nick Saban got to Tuscaloosa, these weren't the schools that Alabama was beating for players.
Right.
He immediately started winning these recruiting battles against the creme de la creme, right? The big programs. And that's what it takes. I mean, if you're getting the top players, you're beating the top programs for them.
That's right. Yeah. And another guy that we need in the defensive back position.
And that's a position that Nick Saban's, also always going to do well in because he coaches that position, right? So, I mean, if you're coming on board, you get a chance to play that position. Yeah, it's going to be tough dealing with Coach Saban every day, but he's going to make you really good, and it's going to be fun. I mean, you're going to work with the best that's ever been. All right, let's go back to it again. And Brett, here's a guy from not too far from you, Birmingham, Alabama, and that's Jeremiah Beaman. He went to Parker, and he's a defensive lineman. This class had some defensive linemen in it. It has them, and that's a position you win championships up front. And so Alabama is replenishing that stock.
Yes, they are. And yes, Parker had always a good program over there. Had a chance to watch them on a Thursday night. They came and played here in our county. Had a chance to go watch them down in Cordova. 6'3", 250, another unanimous 4-star guy. And like I say, yeah, loading up on these defensive linemen, and he's a good one, buddy. I tell you, Beaman, look out for him.
Yeah, 23 offers to play college football. He picked Bama over
everyone.
The likes. Oh, all the Tigers wanted him. Clemson, Auburn, and LSU. Also the Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And he was recruited by someone that I used to watch play. I want to say I was in school at the same time as his primary recruiter, and that would be Freddie Roach. Good job, Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie, good job, and he will develop him even further, and it'll be a good fit for Alabama at the defensive lineman position. Did we skip over one of the flips today, Kevin Riley?
We will get there to that one.
All right, very good.
We will get there, and we will not miss out on Kevin Riley because that was
big news earlier today.
Oh yeah, that was where I used to coach. Used to call games, County High. So we'll definitely get to Kevin Riley.
We were coaching for sure, right?
Yeah. All right, here's the next guy, Casey Poe from Lindale, Texas. Another big dude, offensive lineman. Talking about Alabama beating Georgia, Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, Clemson, Texas Tech to get this big fella. 4-star prospect, Brett.
And from the state of Texas, so we beat out a couple of SEC schools out there. Texas A&M. I'm sure he was on their radar. Alabama has recruited Texas fairly well. We got Casey Poe coming in big, like you said, big kid, pushing 300 pounds, and this guy's going to push you around there on the offensive line in the interior.
Yeah, 6'4", 290. He plays both guard and tackle at Lindale High School. He was recruited by Eric Wolfert, the offensive line, and receivers coach Holman Wiggins. And I'll tell you what, man, I mean, we kept hearing about Wolfert and what he brings to the table and how good he is at coaching the big guys. And at the beginning of the season, a lot of us were like, what is going on? And now we look and we go, okay, we see what's going on. We got a dominant offensive line that's gotten better and better as the season's progressed. And Poe's going to be a guy that's going to jump in and help out there.
Yeah, and we mentioned the offensive line off to the shaky start there to begin with, but has really gelled together here as the season progressed. But yeah, he'll come in and make a immediate impact, I think.
All right, well, let's jump into the next guy. And these guys are all signed and delivered for the Crimson Tide. And there it is, Peyton Woodyard. He's from St. John Bosco, Bellwether, California, back out in Cali, man. Cali cool with this safety.
Who's been camped out in California? I want to know who's the main recruiter that's been going out to California and getting these guys.
Yeah,
because, somebody must have a house out there that we just keep them out there. Just say recruit the state of California and bring them home, baby. But this guy, once again, a unanimous 4-star. Georgia was after him. USC was after him. Ohio State was after him. A lot of folks thought he may go to Georgia, but he was, I believe, going to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And
he flipped.
Then he flipped, and he chose to come over to the Crimson Tide side. I think Notre Dame also had an interest in him, but he flipped, and he made the trek to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, the number 6 safety and the number 81 overall prospect in the class, according to some of the publications. And you mentioned it, beat out Auburn and flipped him from Georgia and Ohio State amongst all those teams that Woodyard. And that's to me, I mean, you come to town and you get the chance to play in the secondary with Nick Saban as your coach. You're going to see him a lot out there, but Alabama has made put together some of the great secondary players that we've seen, and then those guys have gone on to the NFL because of that. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Marlon Humphrey. And I mean, you just look through, I mean, you go around football and there's a lot of guys that got the job done in Tuscaloosa and then went on to an excellent NFL career.
And he was recruited by Coach Wiggins and Coach Robinson, and they did a really good job of swinging him away from Georgia because the primary recruiter there from Georgia was Fran Brown, but the guy also after him, which we all know is a really good recruiter, it was Will Muschamp. So,
wow.
Yeah, so a really good job by Holloman Wiggins and Travarius Robinson for swinging this guy into Alabama's favor.
Yeah, another really good get for Alabama. You can see them knowing that they're going to lose some guys because of the the NFL and that secondary being one of the best secondaries that Alabama's had. So if you're Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide, these are the days where you dig in and you make a difference. So a great pickup for Alabama. All right, let's go to the next guy. And I've actually broadcast their games before, not when he was there, but a while ago. And that's Amari Jefferson out of Baylor in Chattanooga. And you talk about Baylor, their campus is like a small college. They are one of the premier programs in the state of Tennessee. Saban was just there recruiting him a couple of weeks ago, and they won. They were in the state championship. I can't remember if they won or not, but they were in the state championship. And then here comes Coach Saban. So it was good to see him a 4-star.
Yeah, 4-star. Tennessee was hot after him, and there once again he was thinking about Tennessee. Georgia was in there. Miami, Ole Miss, all after him, but. Once again, Alabama picks him up. Coach Cox, the primary recruiter there, ranked second in his class. He will be another good one at the receiver position, 5'11", 200.
All right. And Alabama's adding, I mean, you got Ryan Williams in the class, didn't sign today, but he's obviously a great receiver. And that's a position that college football really relies on now a lot more than they used to. I mean, it used to be a game of running. Now it's a game of passing. So, good, another playmaker and a guy that comes in from an excellent program. And, Alabama gets better. And then I say that, and they get better again. Let me throw them up on the screen. Jameer Grimsley out of Tampa Catholic, a 4-star athlete.
4-star athlete, 6'2", 185 pounds, unanimous 4-star athlete. Pretty much he was Alabama through and through. There was really nobody that made a big-time push toward him. Everybody wanted him, but he was pretty gung-ho about going to Alabama. Florida State, obviously, after him there because he is a in-state school in Tampa. But good job by Alabama, Coach Robert Gillispie, recruiting him. And Travarius Robinson again, both doing a good job locking him down.
Yep, defensive back, two-way player in high school, but he's known for his speed. He also runs track, and he puts up just incredible speed numbers. So he was a two-way player, wide receiver and corner, made a bunch of catches, and then on defense was excellent there. I got a feeling he's going to play defense for Alabama, but you never know. I mean, with the kind of speed that he has, maybe he ends up at wide receiver, and it's not even crazy to say that a guy couldn't do both. I mean, you see that happen too, not often, but it has happened before. Look at Hunter over there. What is it? Travis Hunter with the Colorado Buffaloes. He's a guy that does both. But I got a feeling that Grimsley's going to end up on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. I mean, you're going to put your best 11 out there, and if he is one of them, then he could go both ways. But probably defensive side of the ball, and that's good.
All right, so this guy's not too far from my neck of the woods, and that is Sterling Dixon. I've heard nothing but great things about the 4-star out of Spanish Fort, edge rusher. This is another one of these guys that's going to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, playing linebacker, 6'1", 205 pounds. Like you mentioned, good edge rusher. Kevin Steele recruited him really hard. Auburn, it was between Bama and Auburn to get Dixon's services, and he signed with the Crimson Tide today.
So this is exciting. He also had LSU in on him as well. So 4-star guy, and pretty exciting to have him. My notes here, it has him playing at Mobile Christian with Deontay Lawson too. So
oh wow, okay.
So at some point they were teammates. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So he'll recognize some of the folks that he's going to play with now that he's going to be part of the Alabama team. So and again, Nick Saban, continues to keep the south part of the state locked up, something that Shula really struggled with. Yeah.
We really struggled with that, but Sterling going to be a excellent addition to our linebacking core, as well as Jay Sean Ross. He's an edge rusher.
All right, here's one of those flips, right? I think this was a flip you told me about today. Let me throw him up on the screen. There he is. Bubba. You got to have a Bubba on the team if you're Alabama. Bubba Hampton out of Texas. And this guy was committed to Texas until today, right?
His real name is Arian Hampton.
Can we call him Bubba for the sake of the show?
Oh, yeah. I just we were going to introduce him as Arian, but from here on out,
Bubba.
Throughout the rest of his time at Alabama, his name's Bubba.
There was a guy that played in a movie as Bubba that I love too. Did a lot of shrimp. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Bubba Gump.
Bubba
Gump shrimp. No, I love this one. You told me Bubba was coming over, and I thought, hey, this is great.
This was a big get because, like I say, 4-star athlete from Dangerfield High School in Texas. He committed at noon today. He was originally committed to Texas, and I tell you, this was one of Sark's big time. He used this as one of his prized possessions, Bubba Hampton, and then he automatically flipped to Alabama. And the number 11 ranked athlete in the country. He's very, very versatile. He can play both sides of the ball. That was one of those big flips that you wanted to get today, ones that we were watching today to see if we would get. He was one of the ones that came through.
Yeah, Thundar the Barbarian said, don't forget that that Bubba from the Heat of the Night played for Bear Bryant. No, I didn't. And there was a Chief Gillispie on the Heat of the Night. So, I like that show.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Going old school there. If we will get you updated on Solomon, we'll see what happens with that as Alabama tries to just continue to build on this class.
Who are we looking for? Solomon.
Yeah, so he's gonna make his announcement here soon. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think he's still a few minutes away. All right, back to this guys that have signed already. Rydarius Morgan out of Central and Phoenix City, Alabama, 4-star athlete. He is a safety. Come on in, Morgan. Welcome to the Crimson Tide.
That's right. Welcome in. So where are we at? Red Morgan?
Yes.
Yeah, Red. Phoenix City, Alabama. So that means he played for Central. So he was coached by Patrick Nix, right?
Yeah, I guess.
5'11", 175, and 4-star by most services. I think ESPN's got him at 3rd, but Florida State was after him. Cincinnati, Miami, but we mentioned it earlier. Keep them in the state. Got to keep the good ones in the state, and that's safety. We've recruited really well in the secondary.
Yeah.
5'11", 175. He looks like a safety. He looks like an athlete. Red Morgan. Welcome in.
Morgan flipped from Florida State. And you mentioned before teammates with defensive line, signee now, and Faga, and he actually flipped to Alabama, not from Florida State, but from Utah. How about that?
That's nice.
Utah. That would have been a long ride, but I think what happened was the guy just kept getting better and better. He finished the season with 50 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and you're like, hey, this guy's tape is killer, and we got to have him. And also another great nickname, so Red and Bubba. Red Leonard. Anyone know Red Leonard? Used to be in the athletic department forever. Well, this is Red Morgan.
Not to be confused with Red Fox.
Red Fox. I love Red Fox's show. Yeah, I know.
Fred Sanford. I'm having a big one.
I'm having a big one.
This recruiter class is giving everyone the big one that's going to be playing us. I know. I was trying to look up. I think Solomon is signing at 4 Eastern. I thought he signed at 4 Eastern, but I can't find any information on him just yet.
Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out.
Oh, keep an eye out.
All right. Up next from Brookwood High School in Brookwood, Alabama, the Panthers. They send Alabama William Sanders, offensive lineman. Go Panthers.
Well, he didn't have to go far, did he? Not going to go far. Right up the road to Tuscaloosa. Inside, kind of an offensive line guy, 6'3", 290, another guy pushing 300 pounds. And he was pretty much Alabama through and through to begin with. It's kind of weird because Alabama, that of course signed him, but nobody else was really after him as far as a big-time program. Looking at others that showed some interest, Appalachian State, Arkansas State, Chattanooga, and Cincinnati. But obviously, and this is where Coach Saban and his staff are really good. They're really good at, you can look at 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. It really doesn't matter. Can these kids be developed? They see something in Sanders, and I'm going to be interested to follow him throughout his career.
Yeah, maybe he made some momentum late because he picked Alabama over State and LSU. But you're right. I think he was coming to Alabama from the start. The number 24 interior offensive lineman, big dude, 6'3", 290. He's not gonna have to go far. I mean, he can actually, if he wants to drive up 280, he can stay at home.
Right.
And Brookwood, coal country, a lot like around you and Jasper. It's part of the coal area of the state of Alabama.
Yep.
You got to be tough to play in the trenches. And I love the fact that Alabama's keeping the locals, the local players around. And we're going to get into another guy that's local, but going to be nice. Justin says that he'll run your ass over. I believe that. that. Put him up there again. Like you better get out of the way.
Yeah. Get out of the way. Stay out of the way. That's what I like, man. The tough ones.
and
run your
the
ass over.
The recruiting class, it continues to get better and better as we dig through here. But I go back to having, when you get Julian saying on board early, everything just kind of picks up from there. You know what I mean? Like once you kind of have your star type guy, then it's like a lot of those other players want to play with that guy. And here's someone that's coming up is coming all the way from Pennsylvania, from Harrisburg, PA, to play and catch balls from Julian saying, right? Rico Scott. And this guy, you're talking about Pennsylvania, really tough football area. And they love high school football in PA. And so for Alabama to go up there, the same state that they got Joe Namath from, right? Hollywood Joe. They get
that's what I was thinking.
Get Scott, yeah. So and a lot of other players over the years too. But it's exciting to have these guys come all the way down like Scott, and he picked Alabama over Penn State, his in-state, Colorado with Coach Prime, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Georgia. Best receiver on one of the best teams in Pennsylvania. Also, plays free safety in the secondary. And he is another really fast guy, gives Alabama more speed. And the guy scored 28 touchdowns the last 2 seasons, 6 foot 185, 66 catches, and over 1,800 yards, and then led his team to a state championship 4A football a couple years ago. So this is I'm excited about him.
Yeah, I am too. Mick just got word that Coach Saban may be meeting with the press here in just a few minutes, so I'm not sure. So
yeah, as soon as it pops up, we'll throw it on there.
All right, yeah, I just got word that it is coming up here at 4:00. We are hoping somewhere around 4:00. So it'd be interesting to see what Coach says about this class. But Rico Scott, going back to him from Pennsylvania, and coming up from Joe Namath country. That's what as soon as you said Pennsylvania, that's immediately who I thought of was Broadway Joe, and he'll coming in at the receiver position, and once again stacking up on those receivers. Let's see what kind of playmaker this kid is.
All right, and we are waiting on the press conference to start, and as soon as it does, these two talking heads will stop talking, and we'll put Coach Saban on.
Mick, you want to look at maybe some of the guys that we were talking about earlier that are signing a little bit later on today that Bama is hoping to flip?
Yeah, who is it right now?
While we wait on Coach, let's talk about Jaden Baugh. He's a 4-star running back from Decatur High School in Georgia, out of Columbia, Georgia. He decommitted from Arkansas Monday, and he visited Alabama on an official visit last weekend. So they are looking at him. Now, we are loaded at that running back position. We were talking about this off air earlier. He came on a visit with Kevin Riley, who flipped earlier today from Miami to Alabama. But he's one to watch. Tristan Jernigan at a Tupelo High School. He's signing at 4:00. He's a 4-star linebacker. He's been committed to Texas A&M since May, but Alabama's still been on him hot and heavy. He was offered a scholarship back in July. He visited 2 weeks ago. He's considered the 15th overall prospect in the state of Mississippi. And it appears, even though he has not decommitted from Texas A&M, it appears he left his recruiting open. And he kind of got on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, earlier in the week and just basically asked the question, where do you want me to see? Where do you want me to go? You want me to go to College Station or Tuscaloosa? So it looks like it's between those two. I mean, seriously, I looked it up earlier and I was like, well, that's one way to do it. I guess you can open a straw poll or something to determine my future. But it's between those two schools anyway. So that may be a flip there. Daniel Hill out of Meridian High School in Mississippi. He's one that could flip. 4-star running back. He's considered the 3rd best player in Mississippi. Let's see. Who else? There was one more. No, that's it. That's left. There were some others that we were wanting to get, and they did not.
Got left at the altar from Houston. He ended up staying with his commitment to Ohio State. So
he Derek Houston. He stayed with Ohio State. I watched that announcement. But we did flip Hampton. So that was good from Texas. The kid from Canada, our 2nd international player to be signed. We got one from Germany, and I think now one from Canada.
I love that.
He's
global program.
We are global. We are worldwide, baby. We're bad. We're nationwide and worldwide.
Yeah.
4-star defensive lineman from Quebec City in Canada. We got him. Still no word on Solomon Williams. They said that he was supposed to sign at 3:00. So I'm going to look that up when Coach Saban comes on, and Saban may have an update on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get. Sometimes because of stuff going on, he's not on time, and that's
right.
The truth right now. All right. Let's get back at it. Caden Jones from Christ School in North Carolina, a linebacker. He's the number 14 linebacker and the number 2 player in North Carolina. 6'4", so he's a big guy. Got offers from Tennessee, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Michigan, Kentucky, and Ole Miss.
He looks like he's about 13 years old. He doesn't look very old to me, but he must be tougher than nails. If he's playing linebacker, he's got to be tougher than nails, especially if he's being recruited by Alabama. But I looked at him when he popped up on the screen. I thought, is this kid the class of 2027 or 28 or what? No. Another linebacker added to the core from Christ School in North Carolina. We'll see how he pans out.
Yeah, and look, you love the fact that you're getting players who are from other states. You go in and get the number 2 player in North Carolina. I think that's good. I mean, it just shows the footprint of the Crimson Tide. Obviously, you got to have guys that can tackle on defense. And here's a guy that would have been that would have loved to have had at North Carolina State, Duke, but he comes to Tuscaloosa. Yeah. All right, Brett, get ready to say this name. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. You're not roping me into this one. This is your show, brother. All right. Who could get close? Who could get closer to it? That's the thing. This is the kid I was talking about from Canada.
Mbamua. That I don't have the pronunciation.
I don't either. But Mbamua. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, for right now, anyway.
For right now, I'm sure we will know his name before it's all said and done with. 6'3", 275, defensive lineman from Notre Dame High School there in Quebec, Canada. Second international player, like we mentioned a few moments ago, was offered by Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State. But really was big on Alabama, and that is a big, good-looking kid at the defensive line spot. So he's pretty much a 4-star athlete. I think 24/7 has him at a 3-star, but once again, what does it really matter?
Yeah.
Big pickup today. That was one we were hoping for.
Yeah, Mbamua is I think how you say it. Thanks, guys, for the help with the pronunciation.
Yeah.
I meant to look that up, and then we kind of got behind on some stuff today, and all of a sudden it was like, here we go, like it's time to do the show.
Yeah.
But another good get for Alabama, and someone that is going to help the program, and more depth on defense, and I think that's kind of the position that it's a game where it used to be dominated by defense. Now you have to have good defense just to be able to kind of slow down the opposition. It's a league of offense, and then you want guys that can get after the quarterback and disrupt things, right?
Right, and you make a good point, and I really haven't realized this until you just made this point, but, man, we have really loaded up on the defensive side of the football in this class.
Yeah, so pretty exciting to go back to Phoenix City again, and this is a guy whose stock has been nothing but on the rise. Every time you turn around, Phoenix City doing something else. Why are they surprisingly they were the best team in the state? Or one of them anyway. I mean, and they just kept on getting better and better, but. You talk about getting after the quarterback. Faga was one of those guys. You just constantly in the backfield, a senior defensive tackle for the Red Devils. They won the championship over Thompson, 21-19, which was a huge upset. When you talk about this guy, 6'2", 275, and Faga's coming to Tuscaloosa. I like this, man. I like this. It looks like he is a guy that's just going to come right in, and you're going to put him on that line, and he's going to get after some quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Kevin Steele and Freddie Roach both recruited this guy, so you could imagine that tag team walking into a living room. They will pretty much get you sold on a program. And he was sold on Alabama from, I think, the get-go. But I think he flipped from Utah, did he not? I think he originally committed to Utah. Is that right?
Okay, I don't know. I don't have that in my notes.
I believe so.
So maybe it was him that committed to Utah and flipped to Alabama and not his teammate. Okay, so I had that backwards then. Yeah, so that makes sense. And then his teammate flipped from Florida State to Alabama. So the magic of the Nick Saban recruiting machine.
Yeah, Texas was in there too. They were trying to get come in and poach him out of the state, but you're not going to do that. No, you're not going to do that against Coach Saban. And then, like I say, he's sending the reinforcements with Kevin Steele and Freddie Roach, and when they come into a living room, you're going to say, "Yeah, I think Utah's probably not a bad place, but I think I'd rather stay home and play for the University of Alabama."
Yeah, no doubt. It's really crazy to think that now Alabama is getting guys to come from Germany. And it's exciting. I mean, to think that, you go over to a country that really doesn't even play that much football and you find talent over there. So this is definitely a trailblazer, if you will, just because over in Germany, football isn't, it's not the sport. Everybody plays soccer over there. And so with Justin Okarumcrow. Did I say that right? Okarumcrow. Okarumku. That's it. Okarumcrow. See, we're working through it right now. But anyway, he's 6'3", 225. He's a 3-star. He's the first player in Germany to come over and play at football in the United States as far as the recruiting services, right? Or the number one player in the country of Germany to come over. And he grew up playing soccer and gymnastics before he put on, the football uniform, but he's of Nigerian descent, born in Germany. Okarumcrow.
Yeah, and you can't find a whole lot of stuff about this guy. Where do they find people like this? Well, I mean,
just find them.
Where do you find someone like this out of Germany? But you're talking about an international brand. You talk about Coach Saban going on vacation for one of the first times in forever overseas to Italy, and getting a roll tide when he's walking down the street. It is an international brand, and you hear kids coming from Australia a lot, but Germany, no, you don't hear that much at all. And you're right, it's another international player being. How
are we doing today, guys?
All right, there he is, Brett. Sorry to lock you up, but here's Saban.
Challenging day, nonetheless. I know because it's early signing day, people want to talk about signing, and we just got off the practice field. So prepping for practice, prepping for a game, trying to finish this part of recruiting at least. There's still some other guys out there that we're obviously interested in and maybe signing in the next few days, or some guys that'll wait till February. But, we're really pleased with the class. Got a lot of good players. We got a lot of mid-year guys, which I think is, really important or helpful in their development. This is a product of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. I think our coaching staff did a really good job, but the people who support us in the university community do a great job, whether it's the academic university community, our folks in academics, all the people that work in athletic administration. All these people work really, really hard at helping us putting together a really, really good class. So, I'm excited about these players. I'm not going to go through them, individually or anything like that. But, some of them are here. I think we've got several guys that are already practicing. We got a few more guys that may join us later. And, I think there's a total of maybe 19 mid-year guys or something like that. So that's probably a really good thing. From a practice standpoint, players had good energy and enthusiasm today, nice enough to go outside. So, the focus is still on, excellence is not free. You got to pay the price up front, and there's a price to pay for it. And working on fundamentals, finishing plays, pushing yourself through, um, focusing on blocking, tackling, taking care of the ball, a lot of things that we need to pay attention to detail to try to, get our momentum back, as a team and our confidence back so that everybody's playing together and we got great understanding of what we need to do to have a chance to play winning football when the game comes.
Yeah, you've coached former players' sons before, but what is it like to be adding Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. when you coached his dad here as well?
Yeah, well, I think that's the first legacy for Alabama, not necessarily the first legacy for me. I coached Mark Ingram's dad, at Michigan State, but the first generational legacy player that played for us at Alabama and now has a son playing here. Um, I think it's great. His dad's been a really good ambassador for the program, was a great player here, had a great NFL career. So you really appreciate that part of it. But I know how proud he is of his son and what his son has been able to accomplish and his son to have an opportunity to come to Alabama.
You mentioned that there are some freshmen on campus right now. What's that process been like, just getting them adjusted in the first few days, preparing for the playoffs, and how has this experience beneficial to them moving forward?
Well, I think just, exposure. Obviously, we're the first 3 days we were here, those guys have to go through acclimation period. So they got to be in shorts for so long and helmets and then shoulder pads. And so they haven't even been allowed to put full pads on yet. But I just think the whole experience of being in meetings, learning the stretch program, learning the weight training program, being in meetings, starting to learn the offense or the defense, being around the players on the field, seeing, how a college practice really, goes and how they can contribute and how they can improve. And, a lot of them come up and, meet with the coaches so that they learn a little extra if they don't understand something in the meeting. So I think this total experience is a really positive thing for them in terms of their adjustment to, how they're going to transition into, school in January and that whole process that we go through in the spring.
Yeah, hey coach. You always talk about bringing in a good quarterback every cycle. Just what stands out about Julian's game?
Yeah, Julian is outstanding. Player. Ball comes out of his hand really nice. He's accurate. He's smart. He's had a great, high school career and been one of the best players, most productive players in the country on a very consistent basis. And we like him a lot. And I think as all players, I tell all players, you really got to focus on your development. That's the most important thing. What are you going to become? And I think he's got the right mindset to do that.
What do you like about Bubba Hampton's game to bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, Bubba's kind of a dog, man. He's one of those guys that's a great competitor, makes a lot of plays. Whatever he plays on offense, wherever he plays on the field, he doesn't come off the field very often. They had a very successful season this year. I know they had a disappointment in the playoffs, but this guy's a great competitor. He can do a lot of things, and we're really excited about having him.
Coach, Kirby Smart shared that story before the SEC championship, how he finally got a text back from you. In an era full of social media, emphasis on personal branding, texting, how do you find ways to stay as such an elite recruiter?
I can't. I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I mean, we try to be honest. We try to be upfront. We try to sell people on the fact that they can create value in their brand, that we're going to make a great investment in them here personally, academically, and athletically. And, there's a lot of guys that still buy into that. I think name, image, and likeness has, maybe spread, where guys go out, because, some guys are interested in how much money they can make. And that's okay, but we're trying to invest in the players and their future so that they can create more value for their future. And there's a lot of players that still buy into that.
The offense that Julian Saban ran at Carlsbad was mostly spread, but they ran some I formation and some old school stuff that put him under center. How rare is it in this day and age to get a quarterback out of high school who can come in on day one and be comfortable under center?
Yeah, well, we don't get under center a whole bunch, but it's something that, we want to be able to do, and we want the quarterback to be comfortable doing. So, anybody that's done that in high school or grew up doing it, it's a natural thing for them. So I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that they're not just one-dimensional as a player, and then they're uncomfortable doing new things that you have to do, because I'm sure wherever anybody goes, there's going to be new things at every position that they have to learn to do and grow comfortable, learning. But that's one thing that's pretty huge for a quarterback.
Wanted to ask you about Drake Kirkpatrick again, and just kind of comparing how he was as a recruit compared to maybe his dad, if you can remember what it was like recruiting him.
Well, they're different people, but they're both good people and great family. I don't like to make comparisons. I don't think that's fair, but little Dre is a mature guy that kind of knows what he wants, and he's a very competitive guy, and his dad was, had a lot of those same characteristics, and that's why he became the kind of player that he was.
You get three offensive linemen that have signed in this class: Casey Poe, Joseph Inott, and William Sanders. You've often talked about not caring about stars or ratings. They were kind of rated a little bit lower, but what do you see in those three linemen, and what do you like about them adding to your team?
Yeah, well, we think they have a lot of potential. They're guys that obviously that's a developmental position. So those guys are, guys that we think have a lot of ability. We know a lot about them. We had them in camp. We're excited about having them here. We think they can develop into good prospects and good players. I still think we're kind of out there in the market looking for some more of those kind of guys, offensive linemen. So just from a number standpoint and from, a quality experience standpoint. So we're excited to have them, and we're still out there, looking to try to add some people at that position.
Good amount of this class was committed in the summer. You've added some pieces this week. Kind of what's the staff's approach of keeping current guys committed, running the whole race with others that kind of set up strong finishes at the end?
Well, our focus right now is on the game, right? I mean, we're trying to get ready for a game. And I know we got to recruit, and we're trying to recruit, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of guys in the portal. There's still some players out there that we're recruiting that we think are outstanding players. So we're continuing to try to do the best job that we can in every regard, from coaching our players standpoint to, trying to get quality players to come here. But, the whole recruiting process, when we made an early signing date years ago, we said this would become the signing date. Well, it also just moved the recruiting calendar up like 6 months. All right, so players visit in the summertime. That's when most guys visit. I mean, we used to have tons of guys visit in January. We'll have very few guys visiting in January. So the whole thing is kind of just pushed forward. So I don't know how to answer. There's just a lot of things happening right now, all right, that take our time and focus and attention. Recruiting's important. The game's important. Our team's important. And we're trying to, manage our time the best that we can to do a good job in all those areas so that we can finish. All right, thank you.
All right, Brett, there he is, Coach. We're trying to get ready for a football game here.
Yeah. I don't think he's a big fan of this early signing period, but a lot of stuff to juggle, and they've juggled it well. So A great class. I mean, we've got a few more players to go over, but I'm telling you, 23 signees, 9 states, 2 countries. Alabama, we've signed 9 from the state, 3 from California, 2 from Florida, 2 from Texas, 1 from Georgia, 1 from Missouri, 1 from Carolina, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, along with 1 from Germany and Canada. The whole world in Canada, too.
Bringing them all in. All right, Joseph Ionetta, Calgary Christian, Clearwater, Florida. Another big interior guy. They asked a question. They were, like basically he's listed as a 3-star. And Coach Saban said, hey, look, it's a developmental position. So they're looking for what they're looking for. Sometimes just because the recruiting services don't have a guy listed at the top of the chart doesn't mean that a guy isn't going to come in and make an impact. You're talking about this guy, 6'4", 295 pounds. He picked Alabama over Florida, Miami, and Ole Miss. His dad was an All-American offensive lineman at Florida State back in the 80s. So he's obviously a legacy as far as college football is concerned, and Eric Wolford was his recruiter. So he wanted this guy.
Active blocker, has the ability to get to the second level and run blocking while providing some excellent pass protection in the pocket. Yeah, he mentioned his dad, All-American offensive lineman there at Florida State. Number 15 interior offensive lineman, number 33 player from Florida. A good pickup. And like you say, Florida and Georgia Tech also after him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that obviously you win at the offensive line, and Eric Wolford knows what he wants in that position. And obviously he saw something that he likes, and don't be surprised when he doesn't beat that 3-star expectation. Then I put it like that. Talking about 3-star expectation, another guy that Coach Saban talked about. I knew that they would talk about him a lot. I wanted to wait on Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. out of Gadsden City. But yeah, I broadcasted games that his dad played in high school, watched his dad's career. It's crazy that here comes, and Coach was like, well, they're different people. They're good people. He brings Kirkpatrick home.
I didn't realize that this was the first legacy player for Alabama.
For Saban, yeah.
For Saban, yeah. I didn't realize that. But yeah, we're getting into that time where, you've got the legacy players coming around now. But yeah, very versatile athlete, great defensive back, also in the return game, plays well. Top 50 in the state here in Alabama. And he signed with Alabama over Auburn. What was the chances of him going to Auburn? Nil.
0. Yeah. He had the great video where he acted like he was going to Mizzou, and he put on the Missouri stuff and then took it off. But he picked Bama over Auburn, Missouri, and Arkansas. 3-star, mentioned that before. And I'm glad. Look, he plays safety, plays in the secondary like his dad. It's pretty cool to have him out there. He'll be a fan favorite right off the bat, just because
already. Yeah,
because right, like because we know. Hey, we know your dad.
I'm sure he gets that a lot.
Yeah, he's heard that a few times. The thing is, like, you look at him, and they don't really look that much alike. Like Dre looks like Snoop Dogg, his dad, and then he's kind of like a smaller, thicker frame, instead of kind of that long and lanky. All right, let's go back at it again. Jay Lindsey, who's from Butler, Alabama, tight end. This is always a position in need for the Crimson Tide, and they're going to try to get this guy the ball.
Yeah, another one of those big-bodied tight ends who stayed in the state. Gotta love it. Number 22 player in the state of Alabama, 24 tight end in the country according to On3. He was a Rivals top 40 prospect in the state, coached by Jonathan Lindsay at Patrician Academy, and he signed with Alabama over the likes of Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Arkansas State, Liberty, Ole Miss. Yeah, so he wasn't a blue chip type guy, but there's something about him that they like. And you don't want a whole room full of guys that are blue chippers. Sometimes you need those other guys in there too. And you got the walk-ons and everything else, but it's kind of nice to have that mix and especially when you can get guys that come from a football family. They just understand the game.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Well, today, this was one of my favorite ones, okay? And partly because, when I was calling football for County High, which I did, Coach Higginbotham was there, got to broadcast some of their games.
Legendary coach.
Legendary, yeah. And then Lee Gibson, who I'm still good friends with, was the coach at County High, had some really fun times. So I always keep an eye on the Cats. And today, one of the big flips was Kevin Riley, who has developed into one of the state's best running backs. He was committed to Miami, and then you can't go to Miami if you have a chance to play at Alabama. Have you guys seen the clip of Ryan Anderson and Jake Coker and me? And for part of our Elephant in the Room podcast, and Ryan Anderson said you'd have to be a dumbass not to sign for Alabama when Nick Saban comes to your door. Well, I didn't realize he was directing that at Jake Coker at first, and then we busted out into a very hearty laugh because it was just hilarious. Jake's just such a funny guy. Ryan is too, and I thought, man, I wonder if anybody's going to laugh as hard at this as I did, because it took me a second to realize that.
Right.
But Kevin Riley didn't make that mistake. He's coming straight to Tuscaloosa from Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, he's right at home. Considered the number 4 running back in the class, number 8 prospect in the state, 5'11", 195 pounds. He's used to tough competition. You called the County High games. They play in the toughest region probably in the state of Alabama in high school football. So he's used to the tough competition. He committed to Miami, but then and this was one of those recruits that we needed to flip, and we did get him, the 4-star running back from County High School and Northport, and that's Kevin Riley.
Yeah, I love the County High uniforms too, by the way.
Oh, man, I love them. And by the way, I do want to mention we were talking about Solomon Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He did sign earlier, and the 4-star edge guy has committed to Texas A&M.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so we lost him. So, but we were talking about him earlier because folks were wondering about Solomon. Wanted to pass that along.
All right, last guy that Alabama signed today, and there he is, Mabuba.
My booba. Okay.
We already did him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy from Canada. Yeah.
Okay, so we got him already.
Yeah.
So just to make it to where I had to say his name again.
Yeah.
But kind of wrapping up the class and everything that we had going on. First off, if you guys are here and hanging out with us, please like and subscribe. Thank you for being part of the Bama Tailgate recruiting show today. Brett Elmore, you guys should check him out at WJLX Radio in Jasper. Good friend of mine. And, man, we've had so much fun, like just going through all these recruits. Another big day, Brett, for Alabama. I mean, it's just this recruiting class sits at number 2. Now, you still have the period in at the end of the month, in February.
In February, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's not over yet.
There's some guys that weren't there today that will be there, and it starts with this guy here. I'm just going to throw him up. These guys did not sign today, but they're committed to Alabama. Ryan Williams, the best wide receiver in the country, to a lot of people that say, hey, this guy is the real deal, that this guy is like a Julio type of 5-star. And he changed his classification so that he could come to Alabama next year. He was supposed to be 2025. Now he's 2024. That's why he can't sign.
Right.
But apparently a solid commitment. And I know Auburn and a lot of other teams have been hot and heavy after him.
Yeah, he's one of those 5-star plus type guys from Saraland. He's going to be one to watch. Let's see. Is Terry Bussey in there too?
Terry Bussey.
I think he may be one that may be signing late too. I'm not sure, but
okay.
But yeah, we've got several that's still on the line out there. This early signing period. Remember, this is the early signing period. This is not over yet.
Yeah. Here's another guy that that is committed to Alabama, Kayshawn Ross, another edge rusher. And those are headphones on his head there. I don't know why we didn't pick a better picture for that, but I think all of us know what that is. They're not earmuffs.
Now, Bussey, he is committed to Texas A&M, but he's really not going to announce yet. He's still one that we're after. I should clarify that.
Okay. All right. So we're keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
And then the last guy who's committed that we're going to talk about today, that's not going to sign but committed to come to Alabama is Quentin Reese, who Ramsey High linebacker, and we'll see what happens. But these guys are committed, and they got to wait until February.
Yeah, I saw Quentin Reese play. We played Ramsey twice as I do the Jasper High School games. So I got to see him live and in person as well, and he's the real deal. Be interested to see to get him on campus and check him out.
Awesome. Well, 23 guys, Brett. 23 guys at it today. You heard from Nick Saban. I think we've hit it just about all on the show.
Yeah, and just Mick, just to wrap up here, I know 23 signees once again, 9 states and 2 countries. Let's list these by position real quick. 4 defensive backs, 4 linebackers, 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen, 3 athletes, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, a quarterback, and a running back.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
All right, guys, look, we'll be covering Alabama as they get ready to play Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Obviously, we're all pretty excited about this recruiting class. Nick Saban has done it yet again. His coaches have done it yet again, where they've gone out and they have dominated the state of Alabama. They've gotten the best players out of the state. They've gone into Georgia, and you talked about all those other areas. They keep going out to California and pulling in prize picks. Yeah, and so this is great. I mean, they just restocked the shelves and didn't lose a lot of guys so far in the transfer portal. So just a ton of talent, and the program just continues to roll.
That's right. 9 from the state of Alabama, 3 from California, 2 from Florida, 2 from Texas, and then 1 apiece from Georgia, Missouri, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee.
Right. Final thoughts, Brett.
Great class. Very versatile class. Like I say, the distribution between the positions I really like. We're looking really good on defensive, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The 23 signees I feel really good about. I think we got a lot of quality athletes. And once again, the day is not over yet. We've still got a couple people yet to sign. I think some are signing at 5 o'clock today. We may pick up another one. Who knows? But it's not over yet. But Alabama probably going to finish second here behind Georgia.
Well, if somebody else does sign, we'll pop on and give an update on that, and and see what happens. But if it sits where it is right now, been another great day for the Crimson Tide. I'm always amazed at how Nick Saban can go out and bring these guys in and continue to build the program. Help us build this channel, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe and be part of it. Hit the bell so you know when we're live and we're doing shows. Thank you to Pearl River Resort and the Timeout Sports Lounge, where you can go and wager on games right there in Philadelphia, Mississippi. It's an awesome place. Great time of year to get away from the family. Yeah, I'm one of those people. Let me go over there and recharge the batteries, man.
That's right.
They got the spa. They got the golf course, Dancing Rabbit. They've got the table games. They've got bars there. They've got restaurants. It's a really fun place. And you can, like I said, you can lay down wagers on college football, NFL, NBA, NHL, any kind of major sport going on. So that's over at Pearl River Resort. All right, for Brett Elmore, I'm Mick Gillispie. Again, big day for the Crimson Tide, Alabama, with a huge recruiting class. You can always go back, rewind, and watch. We broke down all the players that Alabama got, and if they want to sneak a couple more in on us, we'll be back. Roll Tide, everybody.